Hey guys, so in this video I wanted to talk about the things that I love / admire about the INTJ personality. INTJs are one of my favorite personalities in the Myers-Briggs type indicator, and I find them very fascinating. I think a lot of people find INTJs very fascinating, especially because they are very rare. It's the second rarest type as far as personalities go, according to Myers-Briggs. Now, something very interesting going on cognitively with INTJs. They are kind of a walking contradiction, and to kind of look at this further is just kind of looking at what their cognitive makeup is. So INTJs lead with introverted intuition, NI, and that's their primary function. That's how they see the world, and so that's a very narrow-minded kind of focus. And this isn't to say that they're narrow-minded in the literal sense of the word, that they don't see other possibilities or they're not open-minded. Quite the contrary. INTJs are very open-minded people, and they may not always seem that way because they have a sort of blinder on, which is NI, introverted intuition. And so their second function, or their auxiliary function, is extraverted thinking. And this is very facts and logic driven. You're gonna find when you encounter an INTJ, they have this narrow-minded focus, or narrow-visioned focus, rather, which is driven by NI, their primary function. And then their secondary function with extraverted thinking, TE, gives them this very calculating and strategic mindset. So they are very focused, and they also are driven by facts and data. And it's different than, say, an INTP. INTPs lead with introverted thinking, and their secondary function is extroverted intuition. So INTPs have a very different approach to how they receive information and also go about forming ideas. Whereas the INTJ is very narrow-minded in their focus. Again, INTPs have a very they're able to see different possibilities. But going back to the INTJ personality, because of this strategic nature, they have this very mysterious air about them. And going into their tertiary or third function, introverted feeling, which is very much focused on their own emotions. Introverted feeling is very in tune with how they are feeling themselves. And to people like myself who have extroverted feeling, I'm an INFJ, my secondary function is extroverted feeling, and INTJs have introverted feeling as their third function. I can see introverted feeling as being a little more selfish in nature, but not in necessarily a negative form. What I see with INTJs is this kind of selfish quality that they have. I find that INTJs are very in tune with what they want. And coupled with both NI and TE, both that kind of tunnel vision narrative that they naturally have, and the TE that pays attention to logical facts, that FI, that sense of independence, and their ability to kind of look within themselves and know exactly what they want, that decisive quality, makes them very, again, contradictory, because introverted feeling is this very fiery passion that they have within, whereas on the exterior, they look like they're much more cold and calculating. In many ways they are, because they are very strategically minded. It just makes for a very independent individual that has this driven and future-oriented mindset. And then with extraverted sensing, which is their fourth function, or their last function, extraverted sensing is being in tune with the physical world. Now this is their least in tuned function. This is their weakest function, at least in Myers-Briggs. And because of this, they sometimes have trouble relating to the natural world, but they somehow are able to get over that hump, whereas many other introverts or other personalities may be too focused on the inward. As introverts, they're able to somehow counteract that and relate to the physical world, even though their primary lens is introverted intuition. A very developed INTJ would be able to use both of those functions, their first function and their last function, to almost be like this unstoppable Terminator type figure and be able to go through the world with a drive and a confidence that makes them very powerful. The thing that also I really like about INTJs is INTJs have a very good sense of leadership. You often find that INTJs aren't seeking out leadership in many regards. In most group settings, the INTJ will be the observer. And many introverts become the observer as well. But the thing about INTJs that's very unique to them, and there's only a couple other personalities that have a similar quality to them in this regard, is that they will not try to necessarily lead a group unless they feel like they are the person for the job. And when the INTJ discovers that they are probably the best fit for whatever leadership position, once they become to this determination, most likely they are correct with that. And an INTJ as a leader is very interesting because they're somehow able to have this continue like their individual focused nature that's driven with facts and hard logic. But because of their connections with introverted feeling and that passion within them, they become very inspirational in a different way than, say, an extroverted feeler. They find different ways of leading a group and organizing a group in a way that is individual to the people that are following them. And again, they won't try to be a leader unless they truly feel like they would be the best fit for the job. And I personally believe if the INTJ is a healthy INTJ and psychologically healthy, and they have really worked on themselves and they're in a leadership position, that organization would be unstoppable. Also, I find INTJs to be very creative. Even if they're not necessarily into visual arts or what we consider artistic or creative in a kind of general sense, they have certain creativity qualities that are extremely remarkable. And I know a few INTJs, and even though not all of the INTJs I know are creative in the same ways, in the ways that they are creative, it's very remarkable, and I find it very inspirational. Again, because of introverted feeling, I find that, at least for me as an INFJ, I get very inspired by how INTJs are able to keep true to themselves no matter what. And this kind of goes into another thing. I like the decisive nature that INTJs have. Once they have determined something, they go for it. And this can be in an academic sense, a career sense, or a creative sense, whatever type of sense it is. Once they've set their mind to it, they see the kind of the end of the trail, so to speak. They see the vision, the future vision with introverted intuition, and they're able to follow it through. And they may not always know how. And oftentimes INTJs, because their second function is extraverted thinking, they don't always know the specifics. They don't always know how they're going to do it. But because of NI, because of introverted intuition as their primary function, they see that it can be done and they just go for it. And then they kind of figure things out as they go along. And another cool thing about it is, even though they are kind of figuring things out as they go along, to other people it seems like they know what they're doing. And they have a very well thought out plan. And sometimes they have more of a well thought out plan than other times, but oftentimes, again, it's not always clear to them how it's going to happen. They just know they're going to do it. And I think there's a lot of things to be said about having this kind of mindset, and I think there's a lot of stuff that we can learn from observing INTJs. I know for me, from the INTJs that I have in my life, or the INTJs I have seen along my journey, they have inspired me in this way, because I see, I have some close friends that are INTJs, and what they were able to accomplish or are accomplishing really is inspiring, because whereas other personalities may not also know how to do something, but I think a lot of personalities, they see an end goal and they're just like, oh, I can't do this. But with INTJs, because of their sense of confidence, which is another thing that I admire about them, they're able to have enough confidence and belief in themselves that they can accomplish anything. So there's many more things that I admire about INTJs, but I think that's about it for this video. If you guys have any other things that you really like about INTJs or admire, or if you have any personalities that you want me to do, I really want to do all of the personalities, because it doesn't matter what personality is, there are things that I admire or love about each personality. So also let me know in the comments below what personality type you are, and if you like this video, please give it a like. And if you want to see more videos, please subscribe. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.